Hello everyone. Welcome to this season of AI and innovative and a hot topic that's around the technologies that's happening through not even Microsoft, but the entire universe speaks about with IT on AI, right? So thanks, Iskar. Thanks for hosting this, and thanks to Microsoft as well on having this event, which is said to be a much useful one for most of our tires. And here is about a quick introduction about me. Just saying like what Askar said, I'm not going to take much time, but then I go with Feroz, but a quite long name, Abdul Rashid Feroz Khan. And yes, I'm a Microsoft MVP on Azure, and I'm the founder and CEO of Code Sizzler as well, based out of India and Middle East. So we work as Microsoft partners for training, consulting, and we do work as partners for the GSI programs and the data center maintenance, app integrations, and app development towards data and AI too. So that's a quick, short introduction about me, and let's get on to the topic here. So I want to start with something that image that you see here, right? Can't AI write the talk for you? It's a pretty standard joke that when you're working with AI, it's not that you can expect AI can do everything for you, right? You are going to be a mentor, and this is something which I want to illustrate. This is something which I want to keep it highlighted, say that AI is said to be an assistant. AI is there to assist with your prompts, with your commands, right? But AI has never been with taking up an action for you. So it's all that you give a command and then AI can execute it. It's not that AI can execute something on its own, right? Whatever the tools that you speak about, and that's actually not allowed. That's not actually not recommended in any of a development or a software practice that we go on. It's all that you need to be a mentor. You need to give up the prompt, and the AI tools can work as per that. So the point is overall that AI cannot replace, innovations. AI cannot replace the innovations or the human mind thinking about what we need to do. And the human mind has to go one step further, where we need to know how we can design an AI solution. AI is all about, enhancing the development, and we don't want to go up right doing all kind of steps on your fingers. Instead, you expect a tool to come up with, and that has to work as per the suggestion, as per the prompt that you're going to give up with. That's exactly where we land up with. So I get this question most of the audience whom I meet asking about, hey, will AI will replace the human thinking, or will AI will replace the seats of human where we work, we do some development steps, and I strongly object that it's not that AI is gonna replace the human mind, or AI is gonna replace the human seats, right? The human seats has to be super hot, where we need to work more advanced. We need to know how we can design the solutions, design the AI prompts, and the other side is that the AI is going to work for you. It's going to make your time to be efficient. It's going to make your software product to be enhanced, give a quality release, right? Do a quality operational testing to be done. That's exactly where we land up with the AI here. So let's go ahead. We will make sense with the generative AI. We will be working with a demo as well during this talk. I don't stick onto the slides more. Let me take some 10 or 15 minutes speaking with the slides, and we will go ahead. We will see how the generative AI and the AI solutions is going to help us with the development practice over the software industry. So Gen AI is that it's all the aspect that it has gone into, a huge vast of things that has been already trained. It's not about it can give up the response just with the chat, but still it goes ahead. It works with images, it works with videos, right? You have DALI models that we have. So Gen AI on Microsoft is that it has been built on top of the Chat GPT that's already available. So your Chat GPT solutions are there. Your Chat GPT up to the four versions are said to be there with general availability. And that's something which you make it more powerful when you run it over the Microsoft Azure environment. So Microsoft Azure makes it more sense. Microsoft Azure makes it more powerful, giving up the power of data centers, giving up the power of machine learning, the already existing cognitive service tools that we have. And here, coming up with more of data center locations, you're going to have your GPT-4 that will be implemented at top of the data sets that you're going to run across. So anything that you speak about, you have a vast amount of data that you have in a data lake storage, you still go, you can train them, you can keep it enhanced towards the Gen AI using Microsoft Azure. To work with this, you need to know about a very few basic things, which are said to be like, the large language models, the LLMs that we have. And it's like the large language model will commonly abbreviate with, a short terminology calling LLM. The LLM is said to be a type of generative AI model that can generate and understand natural language by learning up the entire solution and giving up a statistical patterns of natural language from human volumes of text. So you could say that you might have like books, you might be having let's say the environment goes more of social media, the web page content that you might be having. So all these things can work in a super fledged way that could help you to basically conquer with any text and get the data over there. So this makes it super more, let me say, highlighting that you go with any of the data, you can serve for the data across, and you still get it like the more of advanced extractions that can work for you. So the data is going to be with LLM, but that estimates the probability of a word, right? It goes with the probability of word. It thinks about a token or a sequence of tokens that it has to be generated. So they can also generate, a whole sequence of tokens like a paragraph, or it can still go. It can be your environment expanding the window pattern for you as well there. So this LLM repeatedly repeatedly predicts the next token using context and its prior predictions as well there. And you get a condition that's set to be stopped until you gonna train and stop the same. The another way you think of these models as being trained is said to be the large chunk of the internet. So that parameters represent something like, you get 100 cross compression of all the knowledge that's contained on the internet into a 140 GB file like that. So optimizing the model on the next word prediction task is said to be a part of the self-supervised training loop. So it might be having, the hiding parts of input text and asking the model to predict the missing patterns there. The model learns about the world just to predict the next word there. So once upon a time, it might have like n token prompt. The GPT-35 or GPT-4 is gonna, make sense with the prompt that you're gonna give, and then it generates m tokens. The m token is said to be, the unlimited number of tokens or the model that you're gonna train, restricting to the number of tokens that you need towards the sentence that has to be compiled for the result. So that's large language model. You can still make it even more effective, saying that you reduce the number of characters that gets the randomness keeps generating on, so that makes it more powerful for you. Now here is about how the language model works for you. The language model receives raw text and then it tokenizes the text. And the tokens are said to be, as I said before, it's chunk of text that is deposited by the different colored boxes in the images above. And these tokens are then transformed into integers that are fed to the model there. End of the day, the model is a transformer architecture based neural network, which we don't have time to dive into here. We have a short time, but essentially the goal of the model is to predict the next word in a sequence, which leads to the model sampling with a probability distribution that results in the final text or the token output. So let me say the general idea is that text is nothing but a token, right? So the token is said to be the numbers, the number of text that it has to generate. The numbers goes into the model, and the model samples a probability distribution, and then the outputs goes with natural language. That's a single token that would be generated there. This can also make a probability distribution when you give up some text, giving up a confidence score and an accuracy rate over there. You then have the human language models which works here. So you have like n number of tokens that joins together, giving up your prompt, and that forms one tokens is out there. So this is a simplified area to understand behind the screens on how the AI works, the GPT 3.5 or the GPT 4 works for your understanding. You could take a note of this to understand the URL here to understand about the tokenizer. So a token, remember, it's a text, it's not a letter. It's not in case of OpenAI, a token is said to be a short sequence of letters. So, for example, a token can be V, right? That's said to be a token. You can say off, you can say need, right? So here we need to stop. So V will be a token, need will be a token, right? So it's because they are short and they are commonly used, right? You can consider V will be a token, to will be a token, the will be a token. So those things will be considered as a token. The token can also be a part of a word like, here it's called anthropomorphizing. So this is said to be comprised, and I'm trying to split this. We say anthro, right? And anthrop is said to be a simple word. And then you say morphizing, right? So that's like another word that you have. So there are like two tokens that joins together here. It's like a long word and not commonly used, but there are like two words that joins a token over here. This is simply how the tokenizer works with OpenAI. And on top of that, it goes with the characters. It tells you like what could be the maximum of characters that you can use it across. Now let's make it even more simple. Let's see how the language model works here. So this is a basic idea that's applied. You give it a tokens in, and it produces one token out. So you say we need to, and it tries making sense about what could be a prompt that you would be giving across, and it generates an out there. So as you give the next kind of prompts based on your the way that you interact with the GPT, it tries giving up the next kind of prompt that can be answering for you. So now to make it simple, let me go ahead. I will say I will open our Copilot, which has been built at top of the GPT. So let's go with this. Now I can ask the Copilot, see, I can go here, I have the prompts, I can ask about these things, or the Copilot already knows like how I have been working with this. I can ask, how does, let's wait, my calendar looks like today. So I can try giving this, and this can check from my calendar on if I have like any events or something for today. Right? So this is the calendar call that we have. Now think about the prompt which we have been speaking. Let me say I will open a Word and I will try using this Copilot. So let's go to Microsoft Word. You need a Copilot license to try this. Let me open this. I'll say a blank document. Can you find this? So let me say season of AI. This will be a heading for me. And now over the Copilot, see, let me use the Copilot, and I can ask the Copilot to reference or to go with a prompt to be given up. Write a short description for the event of, let's say season of AI. So I try giving this and we'll say generate. This creates a draft. Now this generates by having the token which we have been speaking over the deck. You see here, now it says season of AI is a global event. So let me say keep this, and there is a paragraph about this. Now I can call the Copilot. Now the token, the predictions, what we have been speaking over the tech, that gets analyzed by the copilot here. I can ask the copilot to summarize this document. So at the back end, it tries, summarizing the tokens, the accuracy that it has to give, the repeatedness of the words that has to be removed. So it tries generating the document. It can still go, it can give you the predictions. When you use tools like GitHub Copilot, no, it can give you the predictions of what you can try typing it over there. So that's altogether like, making sense about the token over here. Let's make it even more interesting. We will speak more topics on this. Well, so followed by this, you do need to understand about how the language model works. So it's all like, do I get the same result twice, right? You need to say, we need to stop, right? And there's like, we need to stop, you get a confidence, you get like a token out with saying like, what could be the exact word that it can match across. So this assigns a possibility based on the paragraph that you have been typing, based on the text that you have been typing throughout the document, or the data set which has been already trained as such. So no generative AI model can go kickstart the work on its own, right? Exactly like the very first kickstart. It has to understand the way that you interact with the Gen AI, and then it can work for the prompts there. So to understand more in detail about this, you need to know about the prompt engineering. The prompt engineering is where you create your model prompt by using different styles. So we have talked about prompt as natural language instructions to these models so far. And let's talk more specifically about how to communicate with these models to the prompt engineering. The prompt engineering is said to be an interesting factor. I would say it's like you get the prompt engineering part with configuring the model for your scenario, ensuring that the output is said to be the closest as possible to your expectations. So there are different ways you can draft your prompt. You can provide an instruction, plus you can provide even a primary content. You can say, let's say for example, I can go. Oh, I closed the Word document. I can ask them to keep it translated to some other context of language as well. So let's try this. I want to stick towards a real-time execution. So let's go with Visual Studio. I hope you should have heard about a tool called GitHub Copilot. Or if you haven't heard about it, you go with, let's open a new tab. I would say go with github.com. And you need to sign in, and you can find, the GitHub Copilot that would be available. Give me a minute. So this is one another innovative Gen AI tool that we have. I could go here and click on your Copilot and see we can activate this free trial that's set to be there. Or you could go, you can even buy a plan here. So this gives you a tool called Copilot. Now consider, if at all, I can take up this. I'm just taking it for a sample. I have a code here which speaks about version controlling, and there is a C# code which is available. Now I can simply ask the Copilot. Remember, I said it can do translation. I can ask the Copilot to. You see this, the Copilot window there. One moment, it's getting loaded. So I can go here and I will say translate this code to Java. Now understand, I said this code. You can make sense about the tokens, right? I said this code. I did not say the file name. I did not refer to a file name here. Instead, I just have the file opened up and I say translate this code to Java, and there it goes. With that, I will try uploading a blob into the container here. So let's try going up for containers, and I will try creating a container here. Let me say Let's make it simple. Saying raster graphics images would be here with a private. Okay, and let's say create. And I would still say I want to go with compressed audio. Compressed audio with private. Let's say create. There we go. So we have like two containers over here. And we'll try uploading some files as well. So let me go to the raster graphics. We'll say upload some files. So browse for the files, and I have some files here. Let me try using it. Right. And let's go with a file which is set to be a JPG one, and we can try uploading this now. So say upload. Now we will make sense accessing these containers by using the console app over here. Now let me open up the blob manager. I'd say open this in integrated terminal, right? And there, makes sense. Consider I have no idea about development, right? I can come up here. I'm not a software developer or anything. I can ask the Copilot for a few helps here. Let me ask the Copilot, how can I create a new .NET console app using Visual Studio Code? So that's my prompt. That's my ask. And it says you open the integrated terminal, which I've already opened up. You need to check for the .NET version. Can you see this? It says you need to check for the .NET version. It says create a new .NET console application then, and then open the project with VS Code, change the directory, restore the dependencies, and then you can run the application. It also gives you the command. You see this kind of icon, insert a cursor. So just you click here and your code will be added. Your commands you see here will be added towards the terminal that you find here. Or I can still go, I would say .NET new console. And let's make it the same, right? I know the framework. So let's say net, use .NET 8. Oops, yeah, .NET 8. And let's give a name, blob manager, with the output location there. So this should create a console app for us. Now I need a package dependency to communicate with the Azure stories that we have. So I could simply go, I can ask, the Visual Studio Code with GitHub Copilot, asking for the NuGet package needed for this. I will just ask, see the human kind of, the interactions that we do. I just ask like, can you guide me? So my prompt this time, I'm trying to train my Copilot, the more that it can work as per the expectations. So can you guide me with the NuGet? See, can you guide me with the NuGet for Azure storage blobs? It says you need to go try up these things, and if you're working with the CLI, we are with the CLI, so you need to run the command which has been given there. It also gives you the code for the same. That's like mind blowing, You see here, it even gives you the code for the same. Now let me say I will try using this command, right? I can click here. Let me say copy, and we can paste it over here. Oops, yeah. .NET add packages, Azure storage .blobs version. I pasted it twice, so I can set the version as well here. Now, by default, if you could see the command, it just says Azure storage.blobs. And that's exactly what I said. You as a mentor, you need to understand that you have to give up the packages that has to be loaded here. It says that package is compatible with all the specified formats in the error record while getting the package were unable to load the service index for this. The again the reason is that I have a a different repo which I've given for the Visual Studio, right? So it looks for the different source to call the NuGet packages. But that's okay. You can come back to this and you see you have a code here. Let's say open program.cs. You have a hello world application there. Now I can remove this. I can simply give up uh, a command line saying write a program class to access Azure storage. You see here, it gives the prompt name. It says you go with using system, you go with using system.io, threading.task. So you can accept if you're good with making sense about the intelligence here, then you're going to be a code developer there. Now I can even try the other way around. I would go, let's say, we'll give this code snippet, right? And instead of giving up, or let's say I'll go like this. Let's try it writing Azure.storage. Yes. Then say using Azure storage.blobs. Let me accept it. You see the intelligence? Let's say using. So that's given by Copilot. Let's say storage dot blob dot models to be used and go with using system. And I can still say using system dot threading dot tasks to be given up. And thereon, we will try creating a public class program. So within this public class program, now see the Copilot tries to understand what we are trying to come up with, and it will give you a code. Can you see this? So this gives a complete code of you can access the Azure storage account. Now let me remove these things. I will still give the prompt. Now see, I will say update the blob service endpoint value that, yeah, see, it even gives the prompt. What are you meaning to this? That you copied from the Azure portal. So it understands the way that we interact, and then it gives the code, right? You say private constant string blob service endpoint equal to, now you need to paste this. So if you have the endpoint with you, you can just, I'm not going to come up with this, right? But then makes sense, you can add it up over here. You could then give up enter. It tells you next you need to update the storage account name. So let's accept the same and it will give you the code for that. Once again, it gives a prompt for you. Update the storage account key value that you copied from the Azure portal. You can just accept for the same and it gives the code again. Followed by that, you can say create a new, let's say asynchronous method called main. So this will give the code again. You see this public static task, right? It passes on. Let's keep this empty there. There we go. Now, if you want to make sense with this code, you can simply ask Copilot to be opened up, and I can say, brief me this code. So it takes that particular main method alone and it briefs you like what this is exactly going to do for you there. Still prompts. Hope you could make sense here. Now let me say, I just clicked here, so I'm getting the response like that. I will select the entire code and I'll say, summarize this code for me. So it says the C# code snippet is the skeleton, right? And it tells like what exactly this complete code is going to do for you. It says you're going to call the service endpoint. your account name, your account key. So we can make wonders with this. Just same like this, we can even write test cases. We can ask the Copilot to write test cases, right? We can reference towards a solution. Now the storage account name and key, whatever I created before, the one which I have copied, I can keep this updated. I can add the new kit packages. I can work for the same thing. So that makes your developer tasks to be much simpler there. We could even go with wonders. We can say that you wanna create a presentation. That's even simple interesting that the Gen AI can do for us. Let's say, uh, see, I have a deck with me. Let me show you. Let's take the same deck which I have been using for this. So over this deck, I can say go with Copilot, and this makes an intelligence, right? It thinks about it, what we can give up as a sample prompt, and we can say summarize this presentation now. So let's give this, and it will tell us like what we have been discussing. Oh, it says, let's clear this, delete all the Copilot history. Nice. Let's try with a new chat, and I would say summarize this presentation. That's something wrong. We can try with a new one. Let's say file, new, go with a blank presentation, and I'll ask the Copilot now, create a presentation for Gen AI having introduction deck and about the speaker deck as well, speaker slide. Okay, introduction slide, and about the speaker slide as well. The presentation should be more informatic, and it should be for 20 slides. So let me give this as my prompt. Let's wait for this. You see here, the Copilot is taking up action for the same, and we would be receiving a complete, deck for this. Now, let's close this, right? And it has to improve more. It has created only 12 decks, so we need to improvise this. But let's see like what it has done. Let me play this. I said it should be more informatic, having the UI. So there we go. You can even reference a file, and you can ask the Copilot to work accordingly. You can ask the Copilot to reference a file and prepare the presentation accordingly. If at all, if you have a PDF file or something, you can go with Copilot referencing the PDF file and asking a presentation to be built for the same. Now, about the speaker has been added to the last one. We can ask the Copilot to push it towards a second slide. It can still do all those steps. So this is where the wonders that we can do with PowerPoint. And if at all, if you are looking for this Copilot to be built on your own, you have to, let's say you have some customer applications on your side, and you're looking for a Copilot to be built for them. Then in that case, you need to use again the Gen AI atop of the OpenAI service. So you need to go here. You have to get access for this. I would say you take a screenshot or you take a note of this link. It's aka.ms/OpenAI access. You need to request access to the Azure OpenAI service here. You need to give up all these details, your subscription ID, And remember, you cannot subscribe for your organization and listen until you own it. So you need to be the owner of your organization, or at least you need to be the owner of your subscription. Only then you can request for this. If not, it's going to be denied. And it also says that application submitted with all the personal email address will be denied. So this can be used only by the organizations. And if you're like Microsoft partners having gold or enterprise agreements with Microsoft, then you can simply go ahead. You can try getting up all these details there. So now let me go. I have the subscription with me. I can simply say create a resource, and we can look for Azure OpenAI here. Can you see this? We have Azure OpenAI. So let's try opening this. I'll take another 10 minutes and we'll stick on to Q&A. Let's make it interactive. Let's try creating this Azure OpenAI. So this has been built again at top of the Gen AI, that is your GPT models. Let's use the subscription, and I have a resource group for us, AI season at East US. And let me say OpenAI for season AI. Let's say standard plan to be used. So that speaks about the tokenization which we had. And this network is all about like who can communicate with, your Azure OpenAI service, and finally the tag for metadata reference. And we could try creating this thing. Let's say create. Let's wait for this to be spinned up. And once when this gets deployed, now you can find all the different kind of models which we have been speaking about. You can find the chat, you can find the turbo models with images. That's your DALI. Yeah. So let's say go to resource, and we can find it over here. Can you find this? It gives you with the AI Studio. You can you also have the documentations that are said to be available. Let's take up this. Go to the studio now. There we go. So this makes it simple that you don't need a code or anything. You get a studio, you can drag and drop the steps, you can work with as much as you know about the interfaces there. So to get started with this Azure OpenAI service, let me close this. See, this is the service that we created at the top right corner. You can see that we have OpenAI, Season AI with East US that's running on. And you have like a chat where you can go. You need to have the deployment models. So this is a playground where you can test the steps that you're going to create it. So you need to put up a deployment, and then you can try testing this. You do have like DALI. This makes wondering, let me say this should take at least like 5 minutes to generate the images. But then I can say generate an image for a typical Indian restaurant having some landmarks of having some landmarks presenting New Delhi. So this will be my prompt, and let's say generate, and this can generate the image for us now. So it generates the image, and it uses the model called DAL E3 behind the scenes. Okay, the access denied due to invalid subscription key, but that's not a problem. It should actually take some 5 to 10 minutes to train the data. Okay, we have just created the server, so it has to get some 5 to 10 minutes so that it can try generating an image. We will keep this prompt. We will try this, not to worry. Before we close for the day, we will try this prompt again and it can work. Now I can go to the deployments and I will show you. See, the DALI has been just pinned up. So let's wait for this. We can say create a new deployment. And here you will see all the different models that we have. It goes from DAL E2, GPT 3.5, that's 35 turbo. And you still have like, GPT-4 and the text embeddings, which are set to be there. So this is the advanced and the powerful one that we have. Okay, we need to go with a different version for this. Okay, let me say I'll use a GPT 35 Turbo. And you can go with model versions, the different kind of models that Gen AI has come up with. And then the deployment type, you say a standard one, and we can give a deployment name. I'll again say season AI deploy. The content filter. Now, when you build a copilot or when you build any kind of Gen AI apps, you need to make sense that you consider few ethical considerations. You need to develop the copilot that makes sense, as per like it generates the response having people to be common, not based on the racism or not based on the country, not based on the gender of sex, right? It should be a common kind of illustrations that it has to go with. And here is said to be the tokens that it can get generated per minute. So you specify, it's all like what we have been speaking before, the number of text and the sentence that keeps generating. So you need to generate the tokens over here. You need to give up the numbers, and the response goes based on what you give up here. You say create, and there it goes. Now when you go to the chat, you can find the deployment that would be available. Can you see this? And let's close it over here. You get by start chatting. So you get an interface, and here is set to be the configuration. You can give up the past messages that you have, the current tokens that it can generate, and you do have like this speaks about the response that you get, the temperatures that if you're told if you want to make sense that the word should not be repeated on your response, then you can modify it using the temperature that you find here. So let's go ahead and we can try, at top of this, you can add your data as well. Now, say, for example, I will try getting details from codesizzler.in. So let me take this website now. Let's copy this. And I'll go to the model. I'll say add a data source. My data source is going to be from web. Can you see this? You can add a database, you can add a storage, whatever. So let's try adding this web address, URL or web address. You need to create a storage account. Let me try using this. No harm. And we give a URL here. What it says, no Azure AI search is there. So we need to create a AI search as well. We should try giving up this. Considering the time makes sense. Once when I give up all these details, right, the data connection management, I can try working with, so it's simple. It trains the data at the behind the scenes, and it can work for the prompts that you're going to give up with. Now, it also has been trained with default. You see here for marketing writing assistant, you have Shakespeare writing assistant, you have an empty message. I can say default, right? And let's say continue. Now, over the default, I can say you are an AI assistant for Microsoft that helps people to find information about Microsoft technologies. right? So this is my system message, and I'll select apply changes. Now let me go to the chat. I'll scroll down a bit, and let me say in the starting chat, I'll give hi. Now see the response here. How can I assist you today with the information about Microsoft technologies? So it has been trained. I did not give up any kind of, a train model to be done as of now. Now let me say, hey, I want to know about Azure, or let's say Microsoft Fabric. Can you guide me on the scene? So I'm making a human kind of interactions. And there it goes. It says, yes, of course. Microsoft Fabric, also known as Azure Service Fabric, and it gives all the details about it. Now, let me ask you related questions. Do we have any certifications on which I can learn about it? Now, understand, I did not say that Microsoft Fabric or Azure Service Fabric. I'm just asking, do we have any certifications on which I can learn about it? Now, the term it is said to be a token which references the previous chat history, and it can provide the response for the same. It says you go with these certifications to be learned across. Is Copilot a product of Microsoft? So we can still ask questions like this. So I haven't trained anything. The GPT model has been trained in such a way, and it can work for the same. I don't want to give up like any kind of a negative kind of statements here, but then if at all if you're working personally, you can still go ahead. You can try uh, posting some questions that can be that doesn't make sense, that doesn't feel fair enough, and you can see that the co-pilot can answer saying that this is something not an ethical consideration that the co-pilot can answer as such. So that's like how the complete Gen AI model has been evolving throughout the Microsoft stack. So getting back to this, I have like another 8 minutes around here. I want you to go ahead. We are at the closing. So AI is more about learning. You need to learn. The model has to learn as well. And you can take a note of this link where you can go. You can find the demos that are said to be available for Azure, OpenAI, and you can try using the same to practice and make your hands to be dirty as well. I do have a survey here where you can go up, you can fill the survey on how we have been doing. And with that, I want to hold on. I want to listen to you if you have any questions. Anything